Dear students, today we will learn about the transmission media in computer networks. There are basically two types of transmission modes. One is wired and second one is unwired, or we can say that bounded media and unbounded media. Bounded stands for wired and unbounded stands for wireless. In the case of bounded media, we will be learning about coaxial cable, fiber optics and twisted pair. Coaxial cable is of two types, baseband and broadband. Twisted pair is also of two types, unshielded and shielded. When we're going for unbounded or wireless media, we'll be learning about radio waves, microwave transmission, and radio wave transmission, microwave transmission, and one more infrared transmission. Okay. So the factors which we are going to consider are one is transmission rate, the rate at which the data travels through the wire or wireless, the cost and ease of installation, resistance to environmental conditions, and the distance that this wire can travel, the distance that data can travel through these wires. Okay, the first one is twisted pair. Twisted means the pair of wires are twisted together and they using this they can transmit data. Pairs of wires are twisted together. Here we have a solid conductor here. This is a solid copper wire. Through which only through this wire data is traveling. So we have an outer insulator or PVC which covers this copper wire. This is a twisted pair construct. The use of two wires twisted together helps to reduce crosstalk and electromagnetic interference. What is crosstalk? The talk between these two wires. It can be reduced if we twist it together. Electromagnetic interference or noise. Another word for electromagnetic interference is noise. It can be external, that is from nearby power cables or from the same cable itself. If it is coming from the same cable, we say that it's a crosstalk. It's a type of noise or interference that occurs when signal transmission on one cable or circuit interferes with another. Another term that when we are dealing with data communications, attenuation. Attenuation means loss of transmitted signal strength which is measured in decibels. This is a general term that refers to any reduction in strength of a signal. Attenuation occurs with any type of signal, whether digital or analog. Sometimes this loss is a natural consequence of signal transmission over long distances. So if attenuation occurs, we place repeaters in between to avoid the signal loss. Okay, to separate table frequency ranges from 0 to 3.5 kilohertz, it is used for low frequency transmission. Typical attenuation is there, that is 0.2 dB per kilometer at the rate of 1 kilometer per rate of 1 kilohertz. Typical delay is 50 microsecond per kilometer. Repeater spaces, we need to space repeater, we need to place repeater after 2 kilometer. There are two types of twisted pair. One is UTP and second one is STP. UTP stands for unshielded twisted pair and STP stands for shielded twisted pair. This is a diagram of an unshielded twisted pair. It consists of two insulating copper wires twisted together. It is twisted in the form of helical. This is used to reduce electric interference and crosstalk. Okay. There are color codes. For each of these pair, we have one dominant color and one is less dominant. Yellow, blue, green and red. There are dominant colors and we use white in between. Okay, there are UTP cables consist of 2, 4, 8, 6 pairs of cables. Based on this, we have different categories of UTPs. The cable connectors are RJ11 if you have only 2 pairs, that is smaller one, and RJ45 if you have 4 pairs. This is the diagram of the connectors. These connectors you might have seen in your computer lab. Advantages of UTP cables are installation is very easy, flexible, cheap. It has high speed capacity, 100-meter limit. Higher grades of UTP are used in LAN technologies like Ethernet. Disadvantage is that bandwidth is low when compared to next one, coaxial cable. It provides less protection from interference. So, to improve interference, we are moving to shielded twisted pair. See, the difference is we have a shield, extra shield with each pairs of wires. Here we have a braided wire mesh that encases each pair of insulated wires. Electromagnetic noise penetration is prevented by this metal casing. The shielding also eliminates crosstalk. the attenuation saying compared to UTP. This is faster than UTP and coaxial cable, but more expensive because we have the cost of an extra metal shield. Easy to install. The advantages are easy to install. Performance is adequate. It can be used for both analog and digital transmission. It increases the signal rate. Higher capacity than UTP, eliminates crosstalk. But thing is that it is difficult to manufacture as well as heavy. We have an extra shield here. Applications STPR. It is used in telephone lines to provide voice and data channels. It is also used in digital subscriber line channels. Okay, for providing high data rate connections. It also use the high bandwidth capacity of UTP cables. It is used in local area networks, 10 base T, 100 base T, and also used in digital pair cables. These are the categories of UTP. This is based on the number of wires and the data speed, the speed in which data can travel. Okay, 2 Mbps is 2 pairs, so 1 Mbps is used for voice and modem. When we have 4 Mbps, it is used for IPM cable in token ring, 16 for token ring, 20 for token ring, 100 for 100 base T Ethernet, 1000 base T Ethernet, and 1000 base T Ethernet. There are different categories. Category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5E, and 6. Next is coaxial cable. Coaxial is a name because we have two conductors, they are parallel to each other. Two conductors are there and they are parallel to each other. Here, look at here, this copper is a central conductor. Through the copper, this is the inner conductor. This is only through the inner conductor the data is traveling. Now to cover this, we have a PVC insulator here. Here also we have a PVC insulator. And here we have a metal shield. Okay, this is an outer metal wrapping which is used as a shield against noise, and it also serves as a second conductor to complete the circuit. Okay, from this way the data is traveling. We have an outer metal shield here, outer metal conductor shield here, and both of these are covered with an insulator, and everything is covered inside a plastic cover. This is how the cable structure is. We have two cables here. One is this and one is this. Two metal here. One is this one and one is this one. This is the inner conductor through which the data is traveling. This is the outer mesh. Okay, outer mesh. This shield is against noise and it is used as a second conductor to complete the circuit. These are the coaxial cable connectors. These connectors are named as BNC connectors, Bayonet Neal Concealment Connector. We have connectors to connect two cables. Look at this one. This is a T junction. We can connect a cable here as well as a cable here. This is a connector at one end. We have a cable here. Cable is connected to this BNC connector. And when the cable ends, we have a terminator connection. That is, this is one-way connection. This is two-way connection. This is a terminator. These three connectors are there in the case of coaxial cable. Coaxial cable standard is known as RG, Radio Government Standard, RG59, RG58, RG11, that based on several impedance. 25 ohm impedance is used for cable TV, 50 ohm for thin Ethernet, again 50 ohm for RG11 is used for thick Ethernet. Two types of coaxial cables are there. One is baseband and one is broadband. Baseband is a 50 ohm coaxial cable which is used for digital transmission, mostly used in LAN. It transmits a single signal at a time with very high speed. The major drawback is that it needs amplification after every 1000 feet. Second is the broadband communication. Broadband is used for analog transmission on standard cable TV, standard cable TV. It transfers several simultaneous signals using different frequencies. Covers a large area compared to baseband coaxial cable. That is, one of them is used for digital transmission and the other one is used for analog transmission. Baseband is for digital and broadband is for analog. Advantages of coaxial cables are bandwidth is high, used in long distance telephone lines, transfer digital signals at a very high rate and much higher noise immunity, data transmission without any distortion, can span to longer distance at a higher speed as they have better shielding when compared to UTP. Okay, disadvantage is that a single cable failure can fail the entire network. That is, it based on a single cable. If the cable breaks down, it will break down the entire network. It is difficult to install and expensive when compared to twisted pair. If the shield is imperfect, it can lead to grounded loop. Okay, shield can make a disadvantage too. Performance of coaxial cables are attenuation is much higher in coaxial cable than in twisted pair cable. Coaxial cable has much higher bandwidth, but signal weakens rapidly and requires frequent use of repeaters. Applications are it is used in analog telephone networks where a single coaxial network could carry around 10,000 voice signals. Cable TV network also uses coaxial cables. Traditional Ethernet LANs uses coaxial cable. 10-base thin Ethernet also uses coaxial cable. Next thing is fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cable is made of glass or plastic that transmits the signals in the form of light. Here, the transmission media is light. It is based on the aspects of the nature of light. You know that the light travels in straight line as long as it travels through the same substance. But when a light travels from one substance to another, the ray changes its direction. The direction of ray changes. We are using this property for fiber optic communication. There are some things about a critical angle. Critical angle is a property of substance. Okay, if the angle of incidence, that is the angle the ray makes the line perpendicular to the interface between two surfaces, is less than the critical angle, the ray refracts and moves closer to the surface. If the angle of incidence is equal to the critical angle, the ray refracts and moves parallel to the surface. If the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, the ray reflects and travels again in the denser substance. I'll explain this with the help of a diagram. Look at this one. Here we have two media. This is more denser media and this is less denser media. This is our ray of light. Okay, the pink colored lines are the ray of light. If the light travels like this, let I be the angle of incidence, the angle that this ray makes with the perpendicular. This is the perpendicular line drawn through two substances. The lesser dense substance and denser substance, we are drawing a perpendicular line. Okay, so if this angle of incidence is less than a critical angle, the ray refracts and moves through the lesser dense media. But if we increase this angle, that is angle of incidence is equal to critical angle. This critical angle varies between substance to substance. So based on substance, we find out the critical angle. If the angle of incidence is equal to critical angle, the ray moves along substance parallel to both surfaces. Okay. But if we increase the angle, if the angle of incidence is increased, if I is greater than the critical angle, what happens? This ray will come back or reflects through the same substance. That is, the ray is not going outward. The ray is coming back. Reflections occurs. In both these cases, reflections occur. We are emitting the ray out. But here, what happens? The ray comes inside. We are getting only reflection. This property of light is used in fiber optic communication. We don't want the light ray to go outside. We want the light ray to come in, do only reflection. So we take an angle I which is greater than the critical angle. Okay. Now optical fibers use reflection to guide light through the channel. Here we need only reflection. No reflection is required. We need only reflection. So we have to choose an angle so that only reflection occurs. Look at this one. This is how light ray travels. This is our core more denser media. This is a less cladding is the less denser media. The denser media is covered with cladding. So we choose an angle in such a way that only reflection occurs. So from the center, the light travels here, reflects back, again goes back, reflects back, goes back, reflects back, goes back, and finally it reaches the receiver. Okay. We have to use the substance as well as the core as well as cladding in such a way that only reflection occurs. Okay. So propagation modes of fiber optic cable. There are two modes of fiber optic cable transmission. One is multi-mode and second one is single mode. Multi-mode can be implemented through step index and gradient index. In single mode, there is only one mode, that is light travels along only straight line. Multi-mode because multiple beams of light source move through the core in different paths. We will be having multiple light source that moves through different paths. In the single mode, we use step index fiber and a highly focused source of light that limits the beam into smaller range of angles, all close to the horizontal. It's very clear if you look at the diagram. See, you have two modes, multi-mode and single mode. Multi-mode again classified into step index and greater index. Okay, look here. In multi-mode fiber, the density of core remains constant from center to edges. Look at this first diagram. This is a multi-mode fiber, multi-mode step index fiber. Here we have only one type of substance here. The pink color one is a substance. So we have multiple light sources. In this case, three light sources are shown. Light sources are shown. The first one reflects here, comes back here, reflects here, comes back here, and gets the destination. Second also reflects here, here, and like this. Third one travels through a straight line. It can be in any way. We have multiple sources of light that reflects back and goes. Look at here. Here the reflection is sharp or step-like motor. That's why we name step index. Here we can say we can see a step here. This is like a step. This is again like a step. Here also we are getting a step. Straight lines. That's why the name step index fiber. Okay. The second one, look here, this is a multi-mode graded index fiber. Multi-mode means multiple light sources will be there. Graded index means the core, you know, that's not of the same density. The density varies. Okay. The density is highest at the center of the core and it decreases gradually to the lowest of the edges. It decreases gradually. So we can get a curve like this. There won't be any sharp edges. There won't be steps. This is known as graded index. Okay. Instead of sharp edge, we are getting a smooth edge. Last is single mode fiber. Here we have only a single source of light. So our core will be very small because we don't want any reflection. We need only straight line. So we use a thick focus light that travels almost like a straight line by reducing the core. This is about propagation mode. Advantages of optical fiber cable are high bandwidth, less signal attenuation, immunity to electromagnetic interference, resistance to corrosive material, lightweight, greater immunity to tapping. Disadvantages are installation and maintenance cost is higher. This is direction of light rays only, always unidirectional, in one direction only. Cost is high. Okay, now we are going to wireless transmission media. Wireless, we can say unbounded or unguided or wireless transmission. Here we are not using any physical conductor. Okay, what we do is we send the signal to the air. We broadcast signal to the air so that anyone who has a capacity to receive can receive it. This is a part of electromagnetic spectrum ranging from 3 kHz to 900 terahertz used in wireless communication. From 3 kHz to 300 GHz is used for radio wave and microwave. 300 GHz to 400 terahertz we are using for infrared communication. Unguided signals can travel from source to destination in several ways. This is about how the signals are traveling from source to destination. We can have ground propagation, sky propagation, or line of sight propagation. What is ground propagation? Ground propagation means the waves travel to the lowest portion of the atmosphere, almost hugging the earth. Okay. These low frequency signals emit in all directions from the transmitting antenna that follow the curvature of the planet. That is almost nearer to the earth. The propagation is almost nearer to the earth. Sky propagation means high frequency radio waves radiate upward to the ionosphere, where from there they are reflected back to earth. This is useful for greater distance communication. Third one is line of sight communication. As the name implies, both the devices should be at the line of sight, directly from antenna to antenna. They should face each other. Here also very high frequency signals are transmitted, but in straight line. Okay. There are basically three broad groups of wireless communication. One is radio waves, second is microwaves, and third is infrared waves. Radio waves. Electromagnetic waves ranging from the frequencies 3 kHz to 1 GHz are normally called radio waves. Radio waves are omnidirectional. What does that mean? It is sending to different directions, almost all directions. When an antenna transmits radio waves, they are propagated in all directions. That means that the sending and receiving antennas do not have to be aligned. You can set anywhere. Okay. A sending antenna send waves that can be received by any receiving antenna. Look at the diagram. It is sending the waves in all directions. This omnidirectional property has a disadvantage. The radio waves transmitted by one antenna are susceptible to interference by another antenna. Okay, if the second antenna also uses the same frequency band, so collision can occur. Radio waves, particularly with those with low or medium frequencies, can penetrate walls. Okay, this it has an advantage because we can place a radio, switch on our radio, AM or FM radio inside a building, inside a kitchen, inside a bedroom, wherever we want, we can place it because the radio waves can penetrate through walls. We have a disadvantage because we cannot isolate something. We can hear the music played by the nearest home. If you are doing something inside a home, it will disturb others. Okay. For antenna, we need omnidirectional antenna for radio waves because radio waves are transmitted in all directions. So we need antennas that should be able to transmit radio waves in all directions. This is applicable when we have one sender and many receivers. That's what radio is doing. There will be one broadcasting sender, and whichever is switching on the radio can hear it. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear it. It is multicasting. It won't be heard by all of them. It will be heard by only the one which has receivers. Okay. AM, FM radios, televisions, maritime radio, cordless phones, and paging are examples of multicasting. Multicasting means cast to multiple users. Next is microwave. There are two types of microwaves, terrestrial microwave and satellite microwave. First we will see what are microwaves. Electromagnetic waves having frequencies between 1 and 300 GHz are known as microwaves. They are unidirectional. That's the main difference between radio waves and microwaves. Radio waves are omnidirectional, but microwaves are unidirectional. So when an antenna transmits microwaves, they can be narrowly focused, like a shooting. It can be focused. What does it mean? It means that the sending as well as receiving antennas need to be aligned in one line. They should face each other. Okay. A pair of antennas can be aligned without interfering another pair of aligned antennas. We can avoid interference because we can align two antennas together, they will communicate. If we want to place another pair of communication, we can align them in another direction. Characteristics of micropropagation are microwave propagation is line of sight. Since the towers with the mounted antennas need to be direct sight of each other, towers should be far apart. Towers that are far apart need to be very tall. They should talk to each other, should see each other. So we have to place them in a very high level. Very high frequency microwaves cannot penetrate walls. Okay. Microwave band is relatively wide, almost 299 GHz. Therefore, wider subbands can be assigned and a high data rate is possible. Certain portions of this band is restricted, so we need permission to use them if we want. Microwaves, due to this unidirectional property, are useful when unicast, when one-to-one communication is required from the sender and receiver. Radio waves are multicast, but here we are using only unicast. Telephone to telephone, that is, mobile phone to mobile phone. It is used in cellular phones, that is mobile phones, satellite networks, and wireless LANs. What happens in the case of mobile phone? Mobile phone talk. The talk between mobile phone is one to one. We talk from one mobile phone to another mobile phone. We are not talking from one mobile to many mobile phones. We are talking from one mobile phone to another mobile phone. It is useful for long distance telephone communication. It can carry 1,000 voice channels at the same time, but it is very costly. I told you there are two types of microwave transmission, that is terrestrial microwave, satellite microwave. We'll see what is a terrestrial microwave. For increasing the distance served by terrestrial microwave, repeaters can be installed with each antenna. Terrestrial microwave, this is a diagram. Terrestrial microwave requires line of sight path between the sender and receiver. All microwave transmitters requires line of sight. Here, look at this one. This building A. The same thing is that we are placing an antenna at our terrace. Terrestrial microwave. See, it's at the top of a building. This antenna is also placed at the top of a building. They are line of sight. They can see each other. Okay. The signal received by an antenna can be converted into transmittable form and relayed to next antenna. This is an example of telephone system all over the world. There are two types of antennas used for microwave communication. One is parabolic dish antenna, second one is horn antenna. Look at this. So this is a parabolic dish antenna. Here we have line of sight communication. So the sender, whatever sender sends, the receiver must receive. There will be some signal loss. It can be captured if you are using a umbrella-like structure. Okay, it catches a wide range of waves, directing them to a common point. In this way, more signals is recovered than possible with a single point receiver. Look at this one. If you have only this receiver, one point receiver, what happens is that we will lose lot of signals. But if you are placing an umbrella like this, a parabolic dish like this, we won't be able to, we will catch almost all the signals. Okay. So this antenna has the geometry of a parabola. You might have learned what a parabola in your maths class. This contains geometry of parabola. That's why the name parabolic dish antenna. Second is horn antenna. It looks like a horn. This has a horn-like structure. Okay. Outgoing transmission broadcast system and reflected outward in a series of narrow parallel beams by a curved head. Look at the diagram. It will look like a horn antenna. Second is satellite microwave. What you have learned is terrestrial microwave that placed like a terrace, placed in a terrace. Satellite microwave it uses a microwave. This is a microwave relay station which is placed in outer space. Satellites are launched either by rockets or space shuttle. They are positioned 36,000 km above the equator with an orbit speed that exactly matches the rotation of Earth. As a satellite is positioned in a geosynchronous orbit, what does it mean? It is synchronous with the Earth movement. We feel that the satellite is stationary. Whenever we try to reach we should aim only at one fixed point. It is geosynchronous. That is, it is synchronous with Earth movement. So we can aim only at one point in the sky. Look at the diagram. This is a dish uplink station. We send data here. This is a transport responder. We receive data here. Using a dish, we receive data. This is how satellite transmission looks like. A satellite is placed in the orbit, and using an uplink station sends signal to this. And using this satellite, we can use a dish to receive signals. Features of satellite microwave are bandwidth capacity depends on the frequency used. Satellite microwave deployment for orbiting satellite is very difficult. The advantage is that transmission station can receive back its own transmission and check whether the satellite has transmitted information correctly. A single microwave relay station which is visible from any point. Disadvantage is that the initial cost is very high. The cost of launching satellites is also very expensive. Transmission highly depends on weather the condition. It can go down in bad weather. When there's heavy rain, we will lose signals. Next thing is infrared waves. Infrared waves with frequencies from 300 GHz to 400 THz can be used for short range communication. Infrared waves having high frequencies cannot penetrate volume. Okay, so this prevents interference from one system and another. Actually, this is used for short range communication system in one room, which cannot be affected by another system in the next room. When we use infrared remote control, we do not interfere with the use of remote by our neighbors. But the thing is that this is useful only for short distance communication. It is useless for a long range communication. You might have seen remote control, right? We are switching our TV using a remote control that uses infrared waves. Infrared waves are used for TV remotes. Okay. We cannot use this infrared waves outside a building because sun's rays also contain infrared waves that can interfere with the communication. So this is useful for only indoor short distance communication. It also requires line of sight. In order to switch on a TV, our remote should face a TV, right? There should be a line of sight communication. Applications of infrared waves are around 400 terahertz band is there, has excellent potential for data transmission. such as a wide bandwidth can be used to transmit digital data at a very high data rate. There's an association known as IRDA, Infrared Data Association. This is an association for sponsoring the use of infrared waves. Okay, they have established standards for using infrared waves for communication. You can use infrared in keyboards, mouse, PCs, and printers, and TVs also. It is useful for short range communication in a closed area using line of sight propagation. That's all. Thank you.